man. Thanks for taking the time and coming on the show.
Thanks for the invite, Jason. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, yeah. So I want to set the stage of when we first met, and it's shocking to me. Like we've been running in the same circles for many years, but Coach Duff, our mutual friend Kevin Duffy, another outstanding trainer, introduced us at the PGA show. We had lunch and had a great conversation. And so I was just like, how have I not run across this guy? And I need to know more, right? So we've sort of befriended a little bit, and I saw you at the Masters this year, which was really cool with one of your players, as we'll talk about as we go into it. But take us back to the beginning, because I know your backstory. It's very interesting how you got into 3D, because you're a 3D expert and biomechanics expert as a performance coach or personal trainer. I don't know what you assimilate by, but take us back to like pre Greg Rose days, and then we'll kind of get into it.
Well, the funny thing is, been an athlete my entire life. So went to school. My parents and my dad was a mechanical engineer. So I was like, hey, that sounds like a great thing to do. You kind of want to do what your dad does
Yeah.
a lot. And I got into, but I actually went to Saginaw Valley State on a bowling scholarship.
Oh, I did not know that part.
So
Please tell more.
Tension bowling.
You and John Graham.
Yeah. So really good bowling school. So competed there. But as I was doing it, about 5 semesters in, I kind of realized that engineering, I couldn't picture myself behind a desk the rest of my life. And I wanted to do something with sports. Just as a person in high school, played anything and everything from, bowling to ice hockey to basketball, baseball, golf, you name it, played it. And I started looking for sports majors. My 2 options at my school were sports medicine and sports marketing. I've always really been drawn to like human anatomy, and that kind of stuff's made a lot of sense to me over the years. So I went into sports medicine, became a certified athletic trainer, went to graduate school at Western Illinois University, studied exercise phys and biomechanics. And as a golfer, I was actually looking at writing my thesis on the effects of exercise and performance on play, because growing up in the mid 90s in high school, we were in the weight room for every other sport, but as soon as it was golf season, our guys were in the weight room like, golfers, get out of the gym. You'll just make yourself tight. This won't help you at all.
Yeah, no heavy lifting.
Don't do anything. Just don't do it.
When did you get into golf? Like, I mean, in the mix of all the other sports, like when did that happen?
My dad played since I was a kid. So probably like my first memories are probably like 3 years old, going out and, grabbing a cut down wedge and, him playing with his buddies and me just dropping a ball by the green and chipping it around. Have some fabulous memories growing up with him of being down at a place in Indiana, and it's probably 110 and I'm just chipping balls, but it's so hot. They're pouring water over me between holes.
Oh my gosh.
And his friend just remembers, and I'm out there and I drop a ball by the woods, and I'll see like 40 yards later, he just sees this ball boop, 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 in the hole. And so kind of been addicted ever since. Played through high school. Like I said, chose to bowl in college.
Could you play college golf? Because you're a scratch player, or you were a scratch player.
Yeah,
I don't know if you get to play nowadays, but I know you're a good player.
D2, D3 is kind of where I was looking if I was going into that.
Yeah.
I actually improved quite a bit after school. I think I got a little more mature in my game. I was a little hectic, 70, 88, not necessarily great for.
Yeah, I get it.
But things you learn. So really improved my game in college. Played, tried to play some USGA events when I was in college on the side, because bowling was more a winter sport. So growing up in Michigan, need a summer sport. Golf, and the golf up there is phenomenal. So that kept me pretty busy. But I did grad school, figured it out, started applying for jobs. I was wrapping up and happened up out this place called Club Golf.
There it is.
And so I was like, golf performance coach or golf fitness specialist. Like, that sounds like that could be at least really fun. And so go out there, don't really know anything about it. All this time I worked in the golf clubs, starting as like a cart boy to grounds crew, to then being an assistant at a private club in Michigan for a handful of years every summer. And so I was like, hey, let's do it. Get this interview, and next thing I know, it's Club Golf, and I'm going out there, and it's Lance Gill, Tyler Farrell, Bobby Duvall, and everybody. And all of a sudden, the guy who interviews me, the Golf Fitness Academy had just started, and I'm watching in the pro shop. And I'm like, I just interviewed with him.
At those early stages with Dr. Rose, I mean, I know like your lens is obviously different now than it is today. Like, did you have any idea like how big this was going to be?
None at all.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be something really fun, and kind of just one of those things. And I tell people all the time. So 6.5 years of school between undergrad and getting my master's, and I learned more in the first 6 months on the job with those guys than I did in 6 years of school.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can believe
It was a crash. I actually went back a couple times during the summer, and the people I had been teaching some golf lessons to, I went back and like, I screwed you guys up so bad. Let's do this again.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's just like coaches, right? I mean, that's one of my questions that I was going to ask you. It's like, what have you learned? You know, back in the day, like how many failures have we had to be like, oh my god, I can't believe I told that player that or I did this. Like, it'd be so interesting from your end as well.
Yeah, let's say there's a lot of vocabulary that I won't use anymore.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
especially as we get better technology, and every day I'm still learning, which is the best part of this job, right? Just every single day. The philosophy has always been try to prove yourself wrong, not prove yourself right. And
I love it.
within Peak and even at Club Golf, it was that way. Is just trying to figure out things and ask questions, because if you don't fail, how do you really learn?
Absolutely. Yeah. So tell me about those early days and like how did that lead to you, taking off by yourself and kind of tell everybody like what's going on because you've got several different facilities and different iterations of what you're doing now. So catch us up.
Yeah. So get to Club Golf, and you're kind of just establishing. Get out there in the middle of summer of DC. People are outside playing, so it was a little slow, but they had this really cool thing called 3D. And as like I talked about earlier, my background was an engineer.
Yeah.
So I started looking at it and getting into it, and I started just being the nerd that I am and trying to dig deeply. So I ended up the first summer I was at Club Golf, I pulled every record that they had since they were there, matched them up to their 3Ds, and went through and did a breakdown that actually with the original AMM. Phil Cheatham used a lot of that. I published 2 studies and the layouts, and I talked with Phil a lot, and that was a baseline of some of his reporting.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like I remember when I first got Sandpot Lab, and you kind of do it along the way with TrackMan, and now I got Motion to Coach. Is like how did you ask how to make this question make sense, but how do you do a proper study, right? It's like we have scientists on the show, and it's like, how did you do a proper study, and what were you looking for, or what did you hope to find? Because typically when I do those, I'm like, this is awesome. I haven't really learned anything. I've probably maybe learned more about like what separates players. But what did you want to get out of that?
I really just wanted to learn more about it. So they had all this great data, but there was nothing that was really set apart saying this is what the data is, or this is what players do. So it was kind of, man, like all data is great, but if you don't know what to do with it,
right?
As we know from teaching with technology now,
yeah, it's useless.
It makes it more confusing at times. So probably the advantage was I went in not looking for anything in particular, and then went out. And when it came out, I just remember a few of the main things I looked at was the main breakdowns I did were male, female, then age, and then
I was going to say, yeah, definitely demo.
So we had about 400 players from Mr. and Mrs. Havocamp, from Caddyshack to PGA Tour players.
Gotcha.
So we had a pretty wide range, and in our entries always was their handicap index when they came in and did the 3D. So I laid them up by handicap, laid them up by age, laid them out male, female, and kind of was thinking is like, why, as we get older, do we lose distance? Because at that point, my dad's getting a little older, and he's talking about how he loses 10 yards a year. And I'm like, you're still pretty athletic, so what's happening? And some interesting stuff we found is mostly X factor and X factor stretch went down.
Is it more in the backswing, or is it more at like impact as far as the stretch?
Backswing transition.
Backswing and transition. Okay, so coming out of the top, how much stretch or how much? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we get a lot, what they were doing is the X factor numbers as by age all went down. So that the original X factor is just the separation of upper and lower body.
Mm-hmm.
So that angular. So if you turn your hips 40 and you turn your shoulders 80, that's a 40-degree X factor. That number went down pretty consistently with age, and then the stretch you get in transition also went down. Not only were we stretching the muscles less, we were getting that little dynamic stretch was becoming less and less, which transfers a lot of speed.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, but did you see it? Like, did you track? I mean, maybe back in the day, you didn't. TrackMan probably wasn't even around. So, did you track distance or speed?
No, it was just more through what they had, and I was looking at it by age and didn't have driving distance as part of what was going on completely, because we still had the original camera base where you had to take the marker and draw the line and line it up and hope it got the spin and the carry.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, pre the technology we have now, and then
my gosh,
that was really interesting. And the most interesting thing about the whole study, though, was something that didn't matter. Was in AMM, they marked top of the backswing. The instant the club stops moving in the back direction and starts moving positive, and then impact backward when it returns to its original compression with the golf ball. And what happened is across 400 people, every single person was between 0.27 and 0.32 seconds. So when the club starts down to the golf ball, no matter how fast you swung it, it gets there in 0.3 of a second.
So the timing was the same.
Yeah, and it was completely interspersed. So tour players on the high end, tour players on the low end, good, bad. Like my wife's a researcher, and I had her run some stats, and it was like P values to like the 7th zero.
That's crazy.
So we know now. I tell people this all the time, and part of when I'm teaching is when the club starts to go, it's going to get there in 0.3 of a second. So if the club beats my trunk, my trunk's got to has less time to work there. So sequencing in 3D is one of our most important things. And it's it doesn't tell us how good of a player you can be, but it tells us what kind of time you have. Like,
yeah, because even like short swings or long swings, the timing or the order, I guess, the sequencing is definitely very important.
Yeah, and like I said, there's great tour winners who have great sequencing, and there's guys who have won on majors that don't have great sequencing. The easy way we talk about to our students, because I don't want them to be like, oh, my sequencing is terrible, I'm a terrible player. That's not true. It's the guys who don't have great sequencing typically rely on timing more. So when they're hot, we're like, go, 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 go. But like if you were taking an example, a tour player, you might have a guy who's like top 10, top 5, miscut, and they're all over the place. When they're on a heater, they're as good as anybody in the world. And when the timing's not there, it can be pretty ugly. The guys with great sequencing are typically cut-making machines.
Yeah, I mean that's really what we're trying to build as as swing coaches is that kind of player, right? And then obviously you hope for some hot streaks, but you don't want the ceiling to be as high. I'll ever use the word consistency because it's not possible, and I talk about that a lot on this podcast. But
that's a golf pro's favorite word, right?
I hate it so much. Functionality or repeatability is what I kind of replace that language with, but it's like, stop telling me you want to be consistent. Like nobody is. And there's so many factors, and we'll get into it. That's so interesting. So take us through the when you started on your own, like when did you know that you were sort of ready? Like you learned enough to feel like, okay, I can run my own business, start, building a project like you do now.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit lucky. It was a lot of support from everybody. I worked at Club Golf for a while. Greg had sold it to another guy who was running it, not necessarily from the golf world, which I had trouble with coming as somebody from the golf world.
Yeah.
Some of the things that were happening, I wasn't quite happy with, but I had really established, and I've always done this, being a team person, reached out and went out of my way to talk to our local area coaches. One of my first supporter and biggest supporter was Steve Bostosh forever. And like Steve would refer clients in, and he would just be like, hey, just go see Jason. And it started getting to the point where, you know how that feeling when you're like, I think I hit my ceiling here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You feel like you've gone far enough. You're kind of ready to take a risk because it is a huge risk, right? You had to feel a lot of pressure. Like, what were the first steps of
Yeah.
besides like getting some notoriety in the area and clients? Like, that's a big project. And now you got to hire people, or I know you were doing a lot of it by yourself when you first started, which would make sense. So, what does that process look like?
I mean, it was the biggest thing was having like Steve's support was amazing because I was like, all right, I have a client base. So I have guys who was at Four Streams, and he was teaching a lot of players who it's a players club at that time. So it was a bunch of guys who wanted to get better. So we had a client base. I tried to do it at first without 3D after using 3D for so long, and I was like, this is way harder. And so we went out and invested in an AMM system.
I was gonna say, now you got to have money to buy that stuff, right? It's
Yeah.
not cheap, especially
So
it's
taking
probably
out some loans, doing all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Found a facility, was able to go out of this field house, this little 20 by 20 foot room, hung a net, put the 3D in there. They had a gym attached to it, and started what we called peak golf fitness at the time. What most people don't know is what peak stands for is performance enhancement and kinematics.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did not know that
word. Play on words.
Yeah.
And kind of just started rolling from there. So we little 400 square foot area with a gym shared with 100,000 square foot of every other sport known to man. And we got our own place in 2013. That was 2009. 2013, we got our own place out of. I always say karma. I really believe things happen for a reason. Yep. Well, the place we were in didn't tell us they were getting foreclosed on, as we were a subtenant. And I walk in one night after caddying for one of our players in a US, I think it was a USAM qualifier, and they're tearing stuff out, and I'm like, what's going on? And we were there. I called my business partner Ramsey Williams, and we were there at about 4 a.m. taking all our 3D stuff down, taking the nets out, taking the equipment out. Spent 2 months working out at a driving range called Olney Golf Park, where we were training in the back behind the range, doing the 3D captures on the range, and found a place in 2013. It's the same original facility that we're in, 2,400 square foot, 2 hitting bays, a small putting practice area where we do some putting evals, and then about 1,200 square foot gym space. No offices. You walk in, front desk, there's 2 chairs, and we get after it.
That's crazy. So when you're saying evals, because like again, we'll kind of get into the relationship you have with other coaches and how you support other coaches, because I think it's important. Like, what do you like? Is this basically just like a consultant type? It's kind of like John Sinclair from his side of our side of the business, and you're more on the other side of the business. Like, what do you capture? You're capturing all the data, but what are you telling the players, and then how does that work?
Yeah, it's really trying to get the whole complete picture together for the players and the coaches, because 3D is one part of it,
right?
And we now when I started, there wasn't force plates yet either, so we didn't have force plates. It was pre-body track, if that tells you anything.
Oh boy, yeah, and, I was a body track guy.
Yeah, the original one, I don't even remember the name of it, but it had purple feet on it. There was an original pressure plate that had like purple feet on them.
Oh my gosh.
That I saw for the first time one of my first trips in 2009 down to do consulting with a guy named Kevin Smeltz, who has become a dear friend of mine. But he would tell you that I think I annoyed him to death before he got into it. So at peak, we buy the 3D system. Like I said, I'm a giant nerd. Phil had a great database built up of about 250, 300 tour level players that you could compare data against. And I go to the LPGA Tour side, and there's 12.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, 12 does not make a database.
Right.
Like, we don't know. So I started making some phone calls through the TPI tree. The TPI family is phenomenal. Really close-knit group of people. It's, as you know, it's a subdivision of even the golf division.
Right.
And went down there, called all the trainers I knew down there. It's like, if you have LPGA Tour players, I will come capture them for free, because I want data. I need something to do. Started getting quite a few LPGA Tour players at the time. Most of them were working with Kevin Smelts, part of the Ledbetter family.
Yep. I know.
And
I've met Kevin before.
so after about the 9th person, I sent these giant reports over to Kevin with just the 3D captures because I'm like, I just want to share the data that I have it. He finally calls. He's like, I appreciate this, but why do you keep sending me these?
Yeah, like you said, you got to know like what you're looking at, and that's why I'm curious. Is like, you got to have some preferences, right? It's like I know you're not a swing coach, but you're like, okay, I see this, I see this. That's got to be a fine line of like
Yeah.
what you want to do with a player, as opposed to like talking to the swing coach and going, what are you doing, and then let's complement that.
Yeah, I mean, probably that's what draws me most to the 3D part of it.
Mm,
Is a 3D. It's more about measuring efficiency, not style. So
love
I
that.
tell guys all
Yeah,
the time that I'm like, I don't care if you looped it around your head, went through a leg, and you hit it. And if it was really efficient, I'd be like, let's rock and roll. Because if we change it, we could make you worse.
absolutely. Yeah,
I've had that conversation with players that they're like, well, I don't like this in my swing, and I'm like, well, it's really efficient. So do you want to make it look pretty, or do you want to function better?
yeah. I love that. I have that conversation daily, with tour players and college kids, and they're looking at Instagram or trying to copy another player, and I'm like, you got to know how you move and then what pieces kind of fit together before you start making it look pretty, like you said. I mean, that's so crucial.
Yeah. So that's a huge part of why I really got drawn to 3D is there's just so many ways to swing a golf club. There's so many different body types. We've seen what happened to players, good and bad, who have changed body types.
Mm-hmm.
With our high level players, and I've talked to Coach Duff about this, is changing body types. I'm really careful about it. Like if a guy comes to me and says, I want to gain 30 pounds of muscle, I'm like, maybe,
Yeah.
or even I want to lose 30 or 40 pounds. That changes the way your body moves and changes the way the club's going to move around you.
Look at Duvall. I mean, it totally changed. Like we're
Mhm.
losing mass, right?
Yeah.
One of the keys of the equation of, force.
Yeah. I think Bryson even got to a point where his mass got so high it started to affect his acceleration and his planes, and now he's dropped back down. I don't know him personally, but that's kind of from things I've heard. Is there's a tipping point. We talk about it all the time. People want speed and power.
Yeah,
There's a
absolutely.
point where, well, power is mass times acceleration. There's a point though. If I weigh too much, my acceleration starts to drop. That's not good. And if my acceleration's good, I can only build so much mass until I get that fall off again. So you have to be aware of it. You have to. It's not just, oh, let me gain 30 pounds.
Yeah, yeah, I get it, and you want to do it slowly. I would think to kind of keep an eye on it, and that's why you're so important to the teams that you're on that are doing like what I do. So, like before we get into, I want to go through your evaluation process.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's like so interesting. I think it could help a lot of
Yeah.
players and coaches out there, and then we'll get into some case studies. But what are you using? What are you using technology wise right now? Because we had that talk when we had lunch. You're like, I've tried everything, and I mean, you can.
Yeah.
I know you wouldn't want to piss anybody off, but like you're not. It sounded like you're not in bed with anybody, right? So you don't
No,
have any allegiance.
I
So
have
talk
no
to me a
allegiance.
little bit about that, because I'm on Markerless now, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you could be you can be brutally honest. I'm just curious.
No, there's through the years it's changed, especially since we've gone to Peak Golf Institute, which I went into business with Pat McGuire, who's another golf coach has some tour guys, works with players, Lisa Deal, and we started really trying to get into the team aspect and really make it about the evaluations. And so we rebranded a couple of years ago into the Peak Golf Institute. Opened a second location in Ashburn, Virginia. It's been great. 6,000 square foot, all the bells and whistles.
Wow, that's big.
We joke around and compared to the original facility, we tease and call it the Gucci store because
Love it.
everything's fancy versus the other places poured concrete everywhere and just it's a gym, right? But what we use is we still use a wired system for 3D capture for our evaluations. So I use Dr. Rob Neal's software, Golf Biodynamics,
Gotcha.
with
Yeah.
the Behemoth system. The only reason is it's the most accurate. We know it is. Gears is very good. Like take the time to put the markers on. Gears is awesome. Does a great job. Markerless is coming. it's still the hardest thing with markerless is it's still computed, not measured all the time.
Gotcha.
So, what we know is with markers, we digitize joint lines, we put all the spacing in, and so everybody's a little different. So it kind of the margin of error from user to user is very tiny in our system. There's, Mark Bull has a system to a walkabout 3D part of the Pohemus family, and with any system, there are strengths and weaknesses. So the weakness of my system is not super portable. I can use it on a range, but I need electricity. I'm not going to take it on the golf course with people.
Yeah.
That's definitely a weakness. But if I want data capture, evaluation, accuracy, that's what I would use. Next for me would be was KVest in 4D. So they still have the markers.
Yeah. So you're still using KVest.
Still have KVest in the background. We use it, especially if I need to teach somebody a move, if they don't understand. Because some people
biofeedback is pretty good, right?
Yeah, some people you say bend and they don't actually know what bend is. Like what's good posture. They don't know what good posture is, and as we get into our evaluation stuff, we do personality profiling on all of our athletes, and we also do learning style profiles on all of our athletes. So if you're a very kinesthetic learner, then biofeedback's really, really good for you. So I love having pictures. They can see it, they can feel it. With KVest, they had the audio tone. I liked KVest enough where I did teach a lot of I was helping them rewrite their certifications pre-COVID, and we had launched the first two, and then COVID hit and kind of blew up that part of the industry. Just killed KVest. So, but I still have units hanging around that we use, because the biggest thing is does the player understand what we're trying to get them to do?
Absolutely.
I tell people the evaluation isn't the skill; it's the putting the evaluation into a workable plan. Because even on the medical side is I could do all these different special tests from my sports medicine background, but did you tear your ACL? Yep, that drawer is opening up. Well, all right, now what?
Yeah, I mean, the interview's got to be thorough, right? And that's kind of leads us into your evaluation. So take us through, because I kind of want to separate, and we're going to go a lot of different directions as I always do with my guests, but I want to sort of break players down into 3 categories, right? You got your tour level players, or you can even throw college players in there that are aspiring to be professional. Then you've got your club golfer or junior, and then junior golfers, and then we can call club golfers from my club. It's very older demo, right? So I think that's important. But I want to spend more time on the tour, good players and the juniors, because I think that's very important. I think a lot of people get a lot out of that. So new tour player comes in, take us through the whole process of what screens you do, what question you're asking, what are you looking for, how does that look?
Yeah, we like to say we're very holistic. So it's pretty in depth with a tour player. If you can think about it, we probably test it at some level or another. Come in, there's your entry interview, where we're trying to figure out what the player thinks, about themselves. A lot of times, what do they think? And I think that's always important. Part of my feedback to the coaches is that interview, because I'll ask them what I call it. So I just say, what are your strengths? And let them list it. And so when I type it up, it says perceived strengths. So I've been around long enough that sometimes what they think is their best part of the game, it might be great for their friends.
Yeah. Self-awareness is not always strong, especially at the college level.
Yep. I'd love to say perceived weaknesses. So then I ask them, where do they struggle the most? And we can dig as much as we want. The consistency comes up a lot. I'm like, is it consistent? Do you want better ball flight? Do you want better contact? Do you want better what part of consistency are you looking for?
Yeah, that was gonna be my question, is what are some of the answers that you get from players that you can give an example?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of it is, I want to hit preferred ball flight.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be amazed, as I've started asking that question, how many really good players have to think about that.
It is amazing.
And I'm like, everybody should have an A flight. What is my go-to? Because if you have three, you have none. It's kind of like the old quarterback quote. It's the old quarterback quote, right? It's great to hit all the ball flights, but you should have a go-to, like under pressure. This is my go-to.
Yep.
This is the one I know because we know how hard golf is. You got to have that A+ game where you got to have a skill that you're great at.
Love that. Yeah, totally agree.
Like we can work on weaknesses all day, but you have to still work on what makes you great, because your greatness is your greatness. And then you're trying to filter in the other stuff. To be a tour player, to me, you have to be above average at everything and great at least one thing. You have to be world-class in one area if you want to be a successful tour player. You got to be above average in all the other parts too, but
yeah,
but you don't have to
have a superpower, right?
Yeah, you don't have to be great at everything. But that even goes all the way down when we talk like your whole demographics. Each area based on handicap, we can actually set those standards for people. We've tracked enough data now where, how close does a 15 handicap hit it from 100 yards? Well, if you want to become a 7, I know how much closer that is, and maybe we can practice to there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we interview injury history is a massive thing for us, including concussions.
Yeah, you don't think about those.
Concussions affect your neurological system quite heavily. So a concussion can really screw up some movement patterns, and some really things that are pretty simple.
Sure.
For most people, they would take it for granted. So we do that to start. We use smart to move force plates. So we do smart to move dual plates captures. So we're looking at pressures, forces, torques, everything that we can possibly get off it. There's GASP, I know, has other systems. We went to smart to move. It was best for what we needed it for.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
from
I have it as well.
Standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
so how many shots does that? Do you like different clubs? Obviously,
yeah, different clubs.
Is there a certain like protocols? Like how many shots are you giving them?
I'm 3 to 5.
3 to 5. Okay.
3 to 5, and then I always have them absolutely just let one eat. I'm like, I want to see you just get after one. I don't care where it goes.
Yeah, it's how much speed.
Like, what can you do? Because I want to see what they do to generate force when they have to.
Gotcha.
So I want to see the regular game, but I want to see that kind of amped up, nervous, like I got tons of adrenaline today, rocking and rolling. What happens when you try to hit one hard? Because a lot of times, as you know, they're in front of you as a coach, they're not always going to give it the full blast if they're wild with it. Like, coach wants to see me hit it straight.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to impress you a little bit.
So we always like to give them that 3 to 5 swings. Then we do wedge captures from 10 yards to 75 yards, about 5 shots at distances. We adjust the distance to the coach or the player. So we ask for favorite yardages, ask for not so favorite yardages, trying to look at how they go. Dr. Neal's system has a great report with that, where it overlays all the swings based on yardage. And so you can see what's moving different.
You're using TrackMan or
TrackMan? So we have TrackMan IO.
Gotcha.
So we're all indoor, but we can take it all outside too. So if we go out to a range, we'll just have everything set there behind us. We get all the information. Then we go into driver and 6-iron captures, where we capture between 6 and 10 swings, driver 6-iron. We do Sam Putt Lab, or if we see something weird on Sam, the GBD system we use actually does putting as well. So it's Sam plus body.
Okay. Yeah.
So now I can look at how much your hips move forward, your chest might have moved up or down.
So you're looking at body motion. Yeah, that would be super. I actually tried. It's funny. I don't mean to interrupt you. I was messing with my motion to coach, and I was trying to get it to do putting. I don't think the ball was going fast enough, but I'm like, that would be so cool. Yeah. I used to use body track with putting and found some stuff, but yeah. So continue. Sorry.
Yeah,
putting guy.
I started using ball. I can't believe ball on isn't around. I'm so sad. It was one of the greatest in-sole force or pressure systems out there. I used it ball-ons with putting with players all the time. Because for pressure, you could see if they got into their toes, into their heels.
Yeah.
We had an LPGA Tour player who was struggling with left to right putts. When she got into her left to right putts, she sank into her heels. Well, if she sits down and back into your heels, what's it do to the putter?
Yeah, it's going to move it differently. Your
Drops
path's probably going to change.
Yeah, drops the heel down. Now they're
Yeah.
worried about heel contact first. So through impact, she was raising her hands, pushing putts. And as soon as we got her a little more even with her pressure, better contact.
Interesting. Huh.
So I love simple. I think this technology, people want to make it complex. The ultimate part of this technology is how simple can we make it?
Yeah, agree.
Can I take the data to make lives easier?
Absolutely.
Because I tell people with as much data, and you know how players are now, they want all the data. And I'm famous for saying, listen, I could make it so you could never swing a golf club again.
And look pretty on Instagram.
Guaranteed that you would just be so frozen you couldn't do anything whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's like, let us get you the 1, 2, or 3 areas that we see as like a limiting factor with your superpowers, and let's work from there. But we take that, then from there we go into vision and neurological assessments.
I love that. Yeah, they were talking about that at lunch. I was just like, oh my God, this guy's going deep in everything.
So we look at your vision, we look at your, like how do you function? How do you move? Can you do things like, do your eyes track smoothly in all the different planes? We have ones with like how fast can you move your hands? And it's all these tests that just check on what makes you, basically. And then from there, we can do full skills testing. Like I said, Pat McGuire has been out there for a long time. He's got more ball club distance data than you would. I think he's been doing it on Excel since like 1995.
Wow.
With players. So he's got all this data. And so he'll set up skills testing just to say, like, we do perception testing. Can you tell me where you hit it on the face? Can you tell me, what makes it curve that way? Like, can you hit the 9 ball flights? Can you do these things on demand, right? Just let's see what you got. Because it doesn't make sense to me. And you see so many tour players that might have a shot they struggle with, and then they either are scared to work on it, or they go try to hit it when they haven't actually got it, and they wonder why it goes bad.
Yeah, I haven't trained it.
Yeah, it's like, sometimes one of my favorite things I learned from my parents was you got to dance with who brought you.
Absolutely.
Especially at that level.
Yeah, I call it that falling out of bed shot, like you said, that you got to have that A shot.
Yeah, we call them no-brainers.
Yeah, there you go.
Requires 0 processing power, and then finally we do our physical. Our physical is about 46, 47 different tests, plus or minus, depending plus or minus on how you do. So if you pass certain ones, you don't have to do others. If you don't pass certain ones, we'll break them out. And I test. After all the other testing, we can probably guess which tests you're not going to do so well at.
Sure.
With almost anybody, I still always test my entire portfolio, because I get fooled once in a while. You're like, this guy should be really good at this, and then you're like, what in the world? What did I just see? And you'd be funny. One of my favorite tests personally, and everybody gets a kick out of it, is a rolling test from the SFMA. With Mike, where you got to lay on your back and you got to use just your legs to roll yourself over and back, and then just your arms to roll yourself over and back. You're not allowed to use the lower body one. It's the lower body's quiet and the upper body. It is rotational pattern from a neurological.
It's TPI baby rolls, right?
Baby rolls.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you that across our screening, it has failed at 90%.
Oh my God, really?
Including, I'm talking like not even outside of golf, we're talking Major League Baseball players. We're talking football. We're talking
world-class athletes.
World-class athletes that don't know how to roll over.
That's crazy. So how many of the, did you like sort of take the TPI screens and then like add some of your own? I mean, how did that evolve into 47?
Mix and matched. So Greg will tell you his original club golf screen was pretty comprehensive, and he was able to make that screen so it was doable on a driving range in 5 minutes. Brilliant. So that's our high level screen. And then we actually had breakouts of those screens at club golf that we've kept some of them. And then as technology, as we've gone through testing, as we started learning more and more, we filter screens in and out, but it typically takes a long time for us to really put it into application. One of my big different screens from TPI, TPI is a step and throw, rotational one. Or guess what? It's really hard to find space to do that.
Yeah.
You're an indoor facility. What we've done is we've done a seated rotational shot put. So sitting on the ground, heels on the ground, you just wind up and shot put right and left. And actually, kind of like the 20-20-20, 120 club head speed, 300-yard drive number, that actually is matched perfectly with what we've seen across the last 7 years.
So how far they can throw it?
Yeah. So if they do that 15 feet and they vertical 15 and they sit up 15 and they chest pass 15, we probably know they're going to be around 150, 160 ball speed.
Interesting. Okay.
It's tied in, so it's in that 1-to-1 versus that step and throw is kind of like a 2-to-1.
Are you doing that before or after they do the ball?
We always do our ball stuff first.
And then after, yeah, because I mean, for me, like I don't have time to do a lot of that stuff. I got a few screens that I like to do, but I can pretty much tell you like what their swing looks like. I can tell you where their limitations are.
Oh yeah,
and you can too. Like it's pretty easy to tell.
Sometimes it's the hardest ones are the ones that you're like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
So they don't do it in their swing, and to me, it's like that's where talking to you as the golf professional, talking to the player, thinking of like long term when we start going down the road. We have evaluations that the reports we could hand to a player. They come in for our normal evaluation for a club player is 2 hours. So we do 10 force plate captures, 15 swings, physical screen, in and out in an hour or in 2 hours, write up the reports. And you could take the reports, throw them into Google, and at least lets these guys search something that actually might help them.
Yeah.
Versus just typing in sway. I mean, yeah, there's 27 causes of sway. Like which one? So that drill's great for that type of sway, And so we're trying to make it so people become better consumers of information. That's one of my big goals and I know Peak Golf's big goal is to make it better consumers for the golfers out there. And one, it helps you like for us, we found locally, it helps our coaches. You don't always have time to do all that stuff. Not in a 1 hour lesson.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to get everything to like save me time and make it more efficient. And then like you said, just be able to like pick a couple things to work on and let's go. Like, plus it's a lot of money. You're not going to spend a whole day. Some guys do. Yeah. But that's a lot. I mean, it's just too much.
Yeah, so we do that. We write up the report. So they're in and out in 2 hours. They have a report and they can take to their coach and we send it to their coach and be like, here's where they're good. Here's where they're not so good. Here's where we're seeing based on the questions we asked them. That's why I asked the ball flight. What are you working on? Right. All the background. One, because I've had coaches go, they told you that? And I was like, yeah, you might need to have another conversation with them about what they're working on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's probably a good thing for the coach because, we think that communication is going well and they can't explain it to somebody else. Then we got a problem, right? I mean, I think that's really good. So do you talk to the player afterwards or you just go, okay, I'm going to send this to your coach and you guys have a conversation or do you have like a three-way?
We have an open, I always allow open communication. So we'll send them the report and they can do what they want. If they want, and the email, it's always like, hey, if you have questions about the report, please ask. I do the same thing with the coaches. If they decide they want to do more with us or like one of your players comes in and we're working on this, we have that report and then we have a much more in-depth technical report. So that one I just call the evaluation summary. Mm-hmm. Because if they're just coming in to get the information, you can give them too much. And now if they're trying to work on their own swing or they're trying to, they're seeing you once every 3 months and they're kind of like fiddling and they're watching all the YouTube videos.
Right.
We don't want to also give them too much because the ultimate goal is I would love to see handicaps across the nation drop. Right. That we do this for that reason.
Yeah.
And
it's tough. Like you said, it's not really the level of the player. It's almost like the attitude and the seriousness to actually get better is so important, which is why I love your, like the psychological part. Yeah. I'm sure some interesting things come out. You're like, okay, this guy's not a great learner, says he wants to get better, but he's, whatever his type of, psychological profile probably doesn't leads that well. There's a lot of different.
Our personality profile Pat McGuire had started this probably like 12 years ago. He did something. He had a facility out in Phoenix at the Legacy Resort out at Phoenix. And he did something called Path to the Tour, where they took struggling mini tour guys and found they had to go through this extensive interview screening process, and then part of personality and all that. And they picked guys, but they basically had I think they had up to 12 spots open. They ended up taking 6 guys, but it was all expenses paid for a year. Coaching, training, tournaments were covered.
That's incredible.
I mean, awesome for a struggling, for a mini tour player, like playing the Summit Tour in North Dakota. Pretty good place. Well, after the year, they went to Asian Tour Q School, and I think within 18 months, all of them had status.
I was about to ask, how did it come out?
6 out of 6 had status.
Okay.
And personality was a huge part of it. And so about 2.5 years ago, we got that up and running with Peak, with the personality profile. And I will tell you, nothing has changed my teaching style more than that long term, because now when I write a program, it's based on your personality. So can
you give an example of that? I think,
yeah.
Do you use, I know you have you have PTs on staff. Do you have a sports psychologist guy do you go to, or do you tailor your stuff based on what you see?
We actually do that more, not the psychological aspect of it, but the physiological aspect that happens when you get outside your personality.
Oh, okay.
So if you're trying to do we would see players who sometimes are trying to copy somebody else that's not their style, and it actually adds anxiety and stress. And we know that we don't perform well when we add those physiological responses to what's going on. So what it is our play is you're one of 4 letters, and our play on it, because we're golfers, is G, O, L, and F are your 4 personality types. You're a mixture of all 4, but you have a dominant trait, and then you have subdominant traits or balancing traits. So let's take G types, for example. Typically organized, highly structured, color code their life. If you told them as a coach to go hit 100 balls, they might count out 100 balls. Yeah. They're going to do whatever, as long as it's written down and they can track it and they do that, that's their comfort level. So for me, on their programs, we got to make sure, one, their practice is structured that way. So, I can go to, hey, Jason, we got to really make sure John here has a plan every day.
Gotcha.
What are they, or if he's, if it's a club player and he practices for 25 minutes 3 times a week. All right, what's our structure for him to get better? And then same thing in the workout. So those guys have literally a daily broken down thing of our tour guy might have his pre-round prep, his regular movement stuff, and his post-round work all in a calendar that they follow. Michael, who we talk about, has a lot of G in him. You can set a stopwatch to his workouts. It's that regulated.
Wow. Interesting.
His warm up is about 22 minutes start to finish, and you could pretty much stopwatch it.
So if you give that sort of program to somebody that's not super detail oriented or structured, then it's going to mess with their whole deal.
Yeah. So the polar opposite of that player is our O types. We call them agents of chaos.
Okay. Yeah.
You see this with a lot of juniors as well, because your personality is always developing.
Yeah. It's they're not quite mature and probably hasn't finished.
And then you're also, your personality changes with who you surround yourself with. So if you're in school and a bunch of chaos is going on and you kind of get comfortable moving in chaos, that can happen. But if you give that player structure, they get bored with it and annoyed with it so fast and just no. I had a player who plays out at Southern Cal who tested off the charts one of the highest O scores we've ever seen. And after we did that, I was like, listen, so he has a grab bag workout. We have different areas. He's got I put 5 or 6 things from easy to hard in each area. And I'm like, I just need you to pick 2 out of each area.
I was going to say that. Yeah. So you just give him a choice.
Yeah. And he didn't miss a workout for over 3 months. And the first time I gave him a structured program, he did it twice and didn't do it for 2 months.
Wow.
So just because we know as coaches, right? If your students do what you ask them to do, they probably get better.
Yeah.
It's at a very high percentage.
Yeah.
And
that's
part of it,
cool. What are the other two letters?
L and F. L and F. L, like emotional, creative. They don't see an easy one for L is like you don't really see straight ball flights.
Hmm.
I'm an L.
They need to see curves.
I'm an L when I play. Hitting
Yeah.
range balls is torture.
Yeah, you want to hit. Yeah, you get bored after trying to hit it straight.
Yeah, I want the ball curving. I want it going
I got
everywhere.
it. Yeah.
So I love hard golf courses because it really makes you work it, and it
Mm.
makes me focus. And like the most boring, simple golf course in our area, I shoot my worst scores.
Yeah, because you fall asleep because it's like looks too easy.
Yeah, I just go through the motions. I find myself I find myself just hitting shots instead of actually playing golf.
Oh my gosh.
And then F is the best and the worst. We're seeing way more F now than in the history, but F is data analytical.
Okay.
And with all the tech we have now, we're seeing more and more of that F type. The problem is F typically makes not great tour players because
maybe not enough feel and creativity to play great golf, right? It's like they got to have a little bit of, like you said, there's probably a little bit in everybody, a blend, right? But
yeah,
you just got to have that dominant side.
Yeah, we score it out, but with every personality, you have a superpower. But with each personality type, not only do you have a superpower, but you also have kryptonite.
Gotcha.
So what's too much of that one personality? So in your F type, the kryptonite is perfectionism. So they want to, if they miss the middle of the face by 2 millimeters, it's a bad shot. And we know that's a great shot.
Drives me crazy. Like drives the coach crazy.
Yeah. So I always talk
hard to work with.
So I always talk with this because I captured a ton of data, right? I was like, listen, data is here to support what you're trying to do, not be the reason we do something.
Oh, I love that.
So that's something that I think is a huge piece to what we're trying to do is so it's not perfection.
Right.
But in all the types, I can go through. F type is inflexibility. So what happens if something goes out of their control that breaks their stream or rhythm? If you become overly rigid, that's the kryptonite of a G type. So like a G type is going out, they have their game plan, and the first hole they make bogey when they plan to make birdie. Now what?
Yeah. How do you react? Yeah.
So we always want our G types to have multiple. When they go to a golf course, they need to have multiple plans. They need to have, if everything goes well, if I had my bad ball striking day, what do I do? So how do I get it to the clubhouse without shooting myself out of a tournament? A surprising one is what happens if I had to chase somebody down, and my goal was to only shoot 2 under, and I need to shoot 6.
Yeah, I mean, welcome to Monday qualifiers.
Yeah.
Right. So that's something obviously you communicate with the coach and talk, because I was just like that's awesome information. Is like, what do you do with that, right?
Yeah.
And I know you can do what you do as far as putting the program together, but like I'm sure you've had a lot of conversations with coaches like, hey, this is your guy, this is how you have to work with them, as far as like maybe the language you use or how you train them, kind of drills you give them. Is that what happens?
That's exactly what happens. And what we've done is we taught communication, especially in golf, our teams are spread out.
Yeah.
Players are all over the world. Your son's playing now, and where is he this week? Right.
Yeah. Peru.
Yeah.
They're getting ready to go to Peru.
So how do we handle the distances? Yeah. And so what we went into is that's where our reporting process to our evaluation. So even the personality, we have a full personality breakout report that we send to the player and the coach, and with our high level players, we have our caddies take it too.
Love it. Yeah. Caddies are so important.
Then we can have the caddies know what pushes their players' buttons and what not to do. Or when they're going downhill, maybe to be able to recognize it and get them out of that spiral. Because all you non-professional players out there listening, even the tour guys go into spirals.
Oh yeah. If not even more sometimes.
Yeah. So
even though they don't look like it inside, they don't look like they don't think they look like Cam Young right now, but and he's even been down that road.
Yeah. So kind of going back, O types, the kryptonite is hyper aggression. But a really funny thing with O types, if they'll actually screw up layups, they need 4 reasons not to go for it.
Okay.
But it's funny, you've probably seen these guys you're like, man, it's just a 5-iron layup, and they literally blow it 30 yards out of bounds. But you give them a 3-wood and they hit a cut 3-wood around a tree to like 12 feet, and you're like, yeah, that's a 33% chance of doing it. And they're like, yeah, that's 13 more percent than I needed to hit that shot.
Oh my gosh.
So like, I think from a coaching standpoint, those O types can be hard because they're like, oh, play smart, play cautious. Well, we always talk to the O's. We're like, hey, we'll take a double because you're probably going to make 7 birdies, or you're going to throw a couple eagles in there. So
Yeah.
I gotta take the good with the bad.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. That is like, we could have a whole podcast on that. It's like, so that's such good stuff. But we got to get into Michael Brennan, right? So, because I want to talk about, he'd be a perfect case study because I've sort of watched him grow up from afar. Because my son played junior golf with him. I reached out to our other mutual friend Adam Harrell, which is his swing coach, and I just wanted to get a couple things and just get his take on your role on the team, right, and how valuable you are. So I'm gonna read the text if he hopefully he doesn't mind. I'm sure he listens to the pod because he's been on, friend of the show. So he said, Jason has been an integral part of elite coaching performance with juniors I work with. I sent numerous students over to him and his team, and they never disappoint. As you're aware of this day and age, having a team member like Jason Meisch is extremely important and valuable. He's been great with all the students' grade. I'm not sure if that was a misspell, but to communication, and is a world-class professional. I know I can send students to see him and his team, and they have the utmost faith that they will do right by the player and us right by the team. Like, that's such a huge compliment. Just to blow you up a little bit there, but I mean, it's rewarding to hear that, right? And that's really, that's really important. So he did ask me to, and we'll go backtrack to Michael's beginning, but and most of everybody out there listening knows Michael's rise to stardom here. It's been a very short time, but he said ask you about, and you tell the story about watching Michael at River Creek at Watch Carty.
Oh, at the watch party.
Watch party. Okay, that was
party.
a misspell. Yeah.
When
and
he won.
He said he and I look at each other and say, "Well, it looks like we're going to the Masters." So he said, "So tell us that story first, and then we'll kind of backtrack into how you started with him."
Yeah, I mean, the easiest thing is, I'll tell you right now, Michael comes from one of the greatest families, one of the nicest people, and I know Adam's on my side. Hopefully, he doesn't get a big head about this. One of the easiest guys to work with. Utmost trust in us. He does what we ask. If he has a question, he asks great questions. As long as we give him great answers, it's all in. So we get invited to the watch party. He had got a sponsor's invite to the Bank of Utah Championship. The funny thing is, I don't know if Adam knows, but Paul Peterson, another player that we work with, was out there as well, and he called Pat, who's been his longtime swing coach, and was like, Mike might win this week.
Wow.
Because he was like, the course is set up. They'd played a practice round. He's like, the course just is built for him. High speed player. But anyways, he's leading after the third round, and we get invited by the Brennans to come out to his club, River Creek Club, to do a watch party. And we're just watching him just destroy golf ball after golf ball. I think on the back, he had a stretch where they showed the longest drive on like the 8 holes, or like 8 straight holes that were drive, and Mike had the longest drive by more than like 15 yards on all of them. Wow. I think he topped out on, I think the 15th hole was 439 yards, and he hit it 418 and had a chip into the green, and the guys behind him were 120 yards behind him. And I just remember listening to it on the show, and Billy Ray's walking with him, and he just started giggling. He hit the shot and just started laughing.
That is insane.
I think it was 194 mile an hour ball speed, and like needs birdie pretty much gives him a big lead, and he basically drives it into the greenside bunker and gets it up and down for birdie. And we're sitting there, everybody's celebrating, and great experience because Adams, I think, worked with Michael since he was 12.
Yeah.
I've been a swing coach. I started working with him when I was 15, and just seeing that reward. But as coaches, like, we want what's best for our players. Like, nothing makes me happier. My L type like I talked about, is I really care about the players, and I get a bigger kick out of hearing their experiences.
Right.
But to see that and know how much hard work went into it, and then going like, holy cow, we get to be coaches at the Masters.
Oh,
Like,
it's sick.
to
Yeah,
be
I was so jealous when I saw you guys. I'm like, yeah, that's where we all want to be. But it's yeah, you were telling me he was like cruising at 126 or something, like, not even trying at the Masters. And I'm like, he had a good week. I mean, he had first time, right? He had a solid week.
great week. I mean, he'll tell you that he actually hit the ball better than he scored. Putting at Augusta National is scary.
It's crazy. Yeah, that's why you got to have a lot of experience around that track. A few times. That's why there's very few. There's only one first time winner. There's a reason for that, right? So he's gonna have plenty more opportunities.
I think part of it makes it so hard too is the greens are so fast and so hilly, right? And unless you've been there, like as many times I watch the Masters on TV, until you set foot on the property, you're like, this TV can't even do it justice.
Was that your first time?
That was my second. I went as a patron one time.
There. Yeah.
Went as a patron, but on the greens, and you're just like a putt that has great holing pace that would roll out 2 foot on the fastest country club green, rolls out 4.5 feet there.
Well, and it's tough because the coaches can't walk inside the ropes to like kind of help their players with that. Like I talked to a lot of my friends that coach there, and it's like it's the worst week as a coach because you don't get full access and you can only have, what was it, two players or two coaches at a time, he said?
Yeah, caddy and a coach on the range. So 2 people with the player. Me on my side, it was hard because the great news is Mike's very self-sufficient. We've trained so long that he can take care of most issues. And so traveling with him occasionally, like I do, my goal is after warm-up is just let him hit. I want to be out there to let him hit a few balls, make sure everything feels great. And then I go do my own thing.
I was going to say, right? What are you actually doing at an event like that? Are you like going to the gym with him pre-round or like how's that work?
Pre-round, we do all our pre-round work, our normal lifts or trains during the week. His schedule's pretty consistent. Heavier day on Monday. We do a lot of maintenance work Tuesday, Wednesday. About a year ago, we started realizing that he actually does better when we do like a light speed power day pre-round on Thursday. Wow. It helps burn off some adrenaline, I think, and it kind of gets him really just comfortable moving fast, and he's ready to go. And then we just kind of keep it movement based the rest of the week. But then he has a separate pre-round warm up on days where he might be the early late, and he's got like a 8 o'clock start. It's pretty hard to go get a lift in.
Yeah,
hours before that. Yeah. So we do it after. And so he's got a whole plan that we set up based on time, and he follows it to a T. Most of my job is communication now. It's hey, what's going on with this? Making little tweaks here and there, keeping him. It's honestly the hardest thing is overtraining.
Yeah, I could see that.
So it's actually
somebody that's that driven and, like you said, that detour structured, right? It's like you could probably overdo things more than underdo.
Rep counts are huge. So, it took a long time to teach him that every rep matters, whether it's, playing tennis or hitting a golf ball or doing a workout. Like every rep is a rep on our body.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him since he was probably 15, 16 years old, like in person. I've seen him on TV and I was like, whoa, this kid's jacked. Like he's big. So take us back to the beginning, because I want to help the junior golfers out there too, right? So I think it's a fantastic example of, getting a team around you early, right? And I want to talk about growth spurts, and I've got lots of questions, but like talk to me, like the first time you saw them, the first program you put together, what did you see? Like, what did you and Adam talk about? Like, what did he need? Was he always fast, or was it that kind of develop over time?
That I remember the first time he came in, he was between 14 and 15. I think it was right after freshman year of high school. Already a pretty accomplished player, good player, but I think he was only swinging at like 92. Which, at 14 now, there's a lot of kids out there probably listening that swing it over 92.
Right.
I don't think there's many people who swing it as fast as he does now.
Right.
He was 92, and his goal was, do you think you can get me to 100?
Okay.
And so we did the screening, we did the testing. And in most cases, especially at that age, the philosophy for us is I love big engines. We want to make you as big and as fast as possible. But if you're put a bigger engine in something that can't support it, we're asking for trouble. And that's the thing. We chase speed so much without building up the structure around the speed. It's an injury waiting to happen.
Right. Yeah.
Like the example I use with my juniors is I can put a Ferrari engine, but if I put it in a Hyundai and I don't upgrade the brakes, the Ferrari engine only looks good to the first corner. And then you crash into a tree.
Yeah.
And that doesn't do us any good. So Mike, I told him early on, I was like, yes, I'm like, we definitely get you to 100, but we have to do the boring stuff first. So we got to build stability. We got to build balance. We got to get you moving really, really well in order to put the bigger engine in. So
because how big was he this way? He wasn't he was a pretty tiny, kind of skinny kid, right?
Probably 5'4", maybe 110 pounds.
Right.
So pretty slight kid. But at 14, 15, most boys are maybe just starting puberty. They're just getting testosterone. It's hard to gain mass without testosterone. That's physiology. There's no way to rush it. You can get stronger, but you're not going to really mass up and fill out. That's unfortunately that's human nature. Good luck. There's pills you can take, but those aren't always legal. And but as kids, you want that development piece. One, you grow really fast. You get really uncoordinated. I've had kids Michael, I think went through a couple growth spurts where he grew a bit, but I've had kids grow as much as 9 inches in a year.
My Nicholas grew 9 inches his sophomore year.
Yeah.
And it was a mess. It was a complete mess. I didn't know how to
can't find the bottom.
Yeah.
So I try to explain to him, and I explained this to Michael in that day. Skill regression during growth spurts is common. It's actually expected. Don't freak out.
Yeah.
Have patience. Your skill is there. But what I told him is during those growth spurts is we could add rocket fuel.
So that's when you can train harder, or like how does that work? Faster. Okay.
Everything is fast. It's body weight. Move it as fast as you can. It's like jump through the ceiling. We use a lot in the gym. You'd be amazed how many 2 and 4 pound medicine balls we have. Way more than we have 10s and 12s and 20s. It's probably 5 to 1 because I need you to move it fast. And I'm like, how a golf club isn't very heavy. So I don't need to, there's a certain amount of raw strength I need to swing that. And also the other part, physical stature. If I'm playing football, I need mass because somebody's trying to run me over. Last time I checked, I don't need to box somebody out to make a 3-footer. So I want the golfers to be more explosive, much more on the high explosive side. And I can tell you that in all the years I've worked with Michael, we've never maxed out a weight.
Really? Okay.
No, his heaviest lift right now is 245 pounds.
Doing what exercise?
He can do a lot more.
Like, but he's moving deadlifts, or what are you talking about? Like bench press, or what?
We measure a lot of velocity-based training. So he has a wearable sensor we use called Output, and it measures how fast he moves. But he was moving 245 pounds at over a meter per second, which is basically like leaving the ground at 245 on a hex bar.
Wow.
So he could probably deadlift substantially more than that. We've never tried.
Just because of risk of injury, or you just
it's the heavier we get, the slower you move. So if I get too heavy and I train your muscles to move slow, even though they get strong, it's really hard to get them to move fast. So
how much is that is genetics, do you think? Like the fast twitch muscle deal, is that a real thing? I mean, it seems to me like because there's a lot of guys that don't look like they could go fast and they do, or they haven't trained and they're really fast, and guys that look like they would be fast aren't as fast.
Yeah, I think genetics do play a portion of it, but those growth spurts during those, we call them speed windows, what you do during those speed windows matters. So boys, they have one kind of 9 to 11, and then kind of like 12 and a half, 13 to 16, somewhere in that range they'll go. But that's the other reason why playing multiple sports is so important for these guys. Because baseball, you throw hard.
So you believe in playing different, like eventually they've got to get to golf, obviously, but I think it is helpful.
Yeah. Well, I'm just like, maybe you don't play it at a high competitive level. So you play golf and you go play rec basketball during the winter.
Yeah.
because guess what I'm doing when I'm playing rec basketball? I'm cutting, I'm jumping as high as I can, I'm running as fast as I can, I'm doing all those things. And we see it with, I'm 47. Like, when's the last time you sprinted? And we get a bunch of guys who come in at 50 years old. They're like, I want to hit it farther. I'm like, when's the last time you moved really fast?
Yeah.
And your brain just starts to slow you down. It starts to put guarding mechanisms. So training for as we get older is about teaching our brain that we can safely move faster than it thinks it can, because it knows falling is bad.
So what are some of those benchmarks and sort of tests that you do for the kids for speed? Is it like jumping, like touching the top of the ceiling type of things, or what?
Yeah, our power tests that we do two-legged and we do two-legged vertical, single-leg verticals, right and left. We do a sit-up throw with up to an 8-pound ball. We do rotary throws with up to an 8-pound ball, chest pass. We do a shuttle run. So we do the old-fashioned 10-yard shuttle, down and back twice.
Line drills in basketball, man.
Yeah, like that. I mean, to be an example, we consider our highest high-speed players run the shuttle run in under 8.5.
So there is a correlation with fast running and high jumping to speed.
Our record in our facility is a kid named Ethan Shelf, who plays at Indiana right now. 7.49 is a 200-mile-an-hour cruising ball speed kid.
Oh, my.
Yeah. He also had 29-inch vertical jump. But in those tests, we average those numbers out. 20 average should put you around 180 ball speed peak. 24 average will put you into the 190 range.
This is vertical jump.
All our power tests together. But vertical does play a good portion of that. Mm-hmm. We're looking for those numbers to be balanced out as well. I don't want one to be 27 and one to be 13. There's a connection problem somewhere. You have a lot more energy going into the system than you're getting out of it. That's on the medical side. I'm like, that's bad for joints. But Michael averages, I think he averaged 26.4 across his power test last time we tested him. And the fastest ball speed, as far as I know right now, is 202.
Wow. He's broke 200.
So he's broke 200.
That's sick.
136.7, I think, was his all-out club head speed.
That's insane.
So that's why he plays at 126, 127.
Right. I was going to say, like, raising that baseline is important, but like you still got to have some technique and be able to find your golf ball, right? It's like, if you ever seen somebody that really wanted speed that you've trained them and then they got worse?
Yeah. I mean, because if you don't, that's why we work with the team so much.
Yeah.
There's times to add speed and there's times to add technique. There's times to add, when I add force, if I get you to rotate faster, your club face might, what was square before, if you rotate 10 degrees more open and quicker, your club face is going to be open.
Yeah.
Got to learn how to shut it down.
Yeah, the timing is going to be affected.
So, I mean, as I tell people, we never change anything in a vacuum. Anything we change in the gym, on the golf course, anywhere else affects everything we do.
So was there a time with Michael, I'm sure it was probably late high school when he's going to college, because obviously he played at Wake and, high level. Like, was there a time where you're like, okay, this kid's got something special, or was it just more of like a slat or a gradual improvement?
I can vividly remember the time when I was like, this kid is different. So a lot of great players in the Northern Virginia, Maryland area. It's become a pretty good hotbed for junior golf up this way. But he came back, I think it was after first semester freshman year at Wake, and he was successful very quickly.
He did college. Well. Yeah, freshman year had a pretty solid year.
And he came back, and I remember him talking to me. He's like, "Hey, coach, I remember all the things you just told me." And he goes about like patience and the ethic and really doing stuff the right way all the time. And he just came back. He goes, "I now get it." So he's like, "I'm going to pay attention to my so he goes, "I'm working with a nutritionist. I'm working with this." He goes, you can't neglect places. And it was just a statement you hear from a college freshman. You're like, you're not normal.
Maturity beyond. Yeah. It's so funny because I hate to tell stories about my son 'cause he doesn't listen to the show. He would never. But um, now that he's professional and his mentals and like his process and his structure has gotten so much better, and we've gone to the college tournament here in Colleton, and I'm sure he doesn't mind me telling the story, but I got a kid that played, in the tournament, and he goes, "Yeah, I want to talk to Jack about some of this stuff," he goes, "If I'd have known this stuff in college, I'd have been so much better." I'm like, "Look, you wouldn't have listened to your 25-year-old self anyway, so just forget it."
Yeah.
But it's like they mature at different times, right? But
Mhm.
if he gets it that early, that's why a lot of guys are going to get better quicker. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty early for a freshman
Yeah. And
to get that.
his habits have always just been good. Like a lot of high level juniors that have come through the doors, and we've seen him and been successful at numerous levels. But his work ethic was, like I said, it was always about, he would always ask the best questions, which for me is awesome because we have a rule. It's called the BS rule. If I give them anything and they ask why, and myself or anybody on our staff cannot answer the question, they're allowed to call bullshit.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, it's a standard. It's a standard that we train to, that we operate to. Because I said so is not a good enough reason.
no,
You
and
have to.
it's okay. It's okay for us to have that because we got people that are way smarter. Guys like you and guys, my friend. Like I can go find out,
Yeah.
right? It's rather than giving a bullshit answer, go like I don't know is okay to say, and I'll find out for you. So that's really cool.
I'll tell the young professionals listening to this, I 100% swear by that. Is I had a young man I hired 5 years ago who's now my lead evaluator. He's my top guy with me. He and I do all the evaluations, and I hired him about 5 years ago. And one of our clients, and most of my clients I've worked with for quite a long time now, and he was training him, and the guy asked him a question, and he comes back to me, and the next thing he goes, "Hey, I asked Jake a question," and he goes, "I don't know." He goes, "I don't know. But I'll go find out the answer for you. Let me go talk to Jason. Let me go find out the answer." And from that time, he had this guy's respect 100% by saying, "I don't know."
There you
And
go.
people are
Yeah,
so scared of saying that.
yeah, that
Like
is
I have you.
huge.
I have such a great resource pool of people that I call all the time when I have questions because I see weird things. Like you're like,
Yeah,
"Man, I haven't seen that one before. Hey, Jason, I got this guy who's doing this. Have you seen this before? If so, like, what did you do?" You know,
right.
and I am blessed that I have Greg as a resource. Like working for him and doing that, like he is my mentor, and I definitely text him enough to say, "Hey, had this. What do you think?" But especially that, and on the professional level, is I can't be on the road 50, 40 plus weeks a year.
Right.
I have I have three teenage kids that are playing sports back here that I kind of like hanging out with. And so finding a team out there too of just other professionals that if say something wacky happened on the road in Peru, could we find somebody to help them?
Yeah. Yeah, Duff's been great. He's been great to help Nick, not even seeing him in person, which I hope they'll get to do that. But he's got, because Nick's that, I guess, the G a little
Hmm.
bit as well. He needs structure. He likes structure. He wants to know exactly what's going to happen. What am I going to do? That leads me to a question. Actually, the conversation we had a little bit at the Masters for tour players, not even tour players, this would go for college players or even competitive juniors that are traveling, the importance of having a fitness program on the road. Talk a little bit about that and like what that looks like for your guys.
Yeah, I mean, and the good thing about that is it really can be anything. It could be 5 minutes, it could be an hour, it could be in a gym, it could be in your hotel room, it could be. I remember some of the mini tour guys that were playing like you know Hooters tour, some of those literally putting bands in a door of their car in the parking lot and doing stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
But the biggest thing is on the fitness side, we joke that fitness is a four-letter word to most people. Um, but the best thing I can tell anybody, regardless of talent level, ability level, have a good warm up. And a warm up is not hitting balls. It is something to get you ready to go to hit balls because you're about to swing fast. Like, what's the average club player swing is about 90 miles an hour?
It's probably fair. Yeah.
Right around there.
Yeah.
Well, imagine, would you take your car, open the garage door, and go 90 as soon as you hit the ignition? Great way to blow up an engine.
Right.
Great way to wreck your car. But we do this all the time. We have our guys who sit at desks 8-10 hours a day, and they come out and hit balls, and they wonder why they're stiff and sore. I have my own warm up that I use before I play. It's
what does some of those look like? Like, if you give some exercises or stretches or whatever.
I'm always dynamic pre-round. I want to constantly move. So like swinging legs, like I call them hurdle walks, where I'm like doing hip circles, standing up, rotations. I don't really hold stretches because I want to get my nervous system going. But I also do a lot of stuff on single leg, or try to get my balance system going. Because there are days I'll do a leg swing, and like I could be rock solid, make 5 swings with my leg back and forth, and I don't wobble. And then there's another day that I make the first swing and I about fall on my face.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is, if I say I didn't do that and I grabbed a wedge. One day my wedge, nice low bottom point, nice crisp wedge shots right from the get-go. The other day my body is so uncoordinated and so wobbly that now I start thinking it's my swing, when actually I didn't zero. So what we tell our players pre-round is, we call it, our warm-up is to zero ourselves out, is to get us as close to zero every day as you can be, because work, stress, life, hydration, sleep, anything affects my physiology every single day. So how can I get close to being the same Jason every single day to get, so if my swing does break down, at least I know it's actually something I need to go work on? Or was it the fact that I just had no touch or feel that day, and I call it chasing rabbits.
Yeah, it's like I was going to ask you about, nutrition, sleep. Obviously, is huge. Hydration. What do you have in your guys, like? Are you the guy that tells them what to eat, or like, would you suggest that, or is that somebody else that
we've worked with guys? We'll always try to find them nutrition. My nutrition background's fairly basic. The biggest thing is trying to get our juniors to eat enough. Most of them aren't even remotely close, and they're lifting weights and they're just running in deficits all day. I think most of our juniors that are training regularly are probably eating between 3,500 and 5,000 calories a day, and close to more than their body weight in protein and grams.
Wow.
Just to fuel themselves and to keep weight. Yeah. Like, that was the biggest thing. Michael, between his sophomore and junior year, we really got onto his nutrition. Because I also believe that with the kids as they're growing up, when we're talking to junior golfers, we can't throw everything at them right away. It's just overwhelming.
Right.
So we try to pick little areas to get good at. Like, so one of my early ones is always hydration. And I want 3 bottles of water every 9 holes.
Okay.
That's my bare minimum.
Yeah.
I need 3 bottles every 9. And if it's hotter, drink more. And then their goal is trying to get their body weight in ounces every day.
With like some supplements, like liquid IV or something, and like some salt or anything.
I mix. Sometimes I'm gonna like, hey, if you got a Gatorade, I pour a little Gatorade in my water to dilute it down.
Yeah.
But I want some electrolytes of those each, and you kind of start playing with them. You start talking to them about, hey, how'd you feel today? Oh, need to add a little electrolyte. Yep, we need to add a little more salt, sea salt, liquid IV. There's a lot of stuff out there. I'm partial to a one called Tactical Electrolyte.
Okay, I've not heard of that one. Yeah,
it's I think it was firefighters out of California kind of started it. They've added a little more like food coloring. I loved it when it was original, because it was like 2 grams or 4 grams of cane sugar, and then it was all citrates. So like you could see like the floating particles in your water after you shook it up of like calcium and sodium, and I really like that, because you need a little sugar to help you absorb water faster, a tiny bit. Gatorade's went a little overboard.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gatorade Zero is probably better than regular a lot of sugar, but they get so emotional, right? It's like they're already going through puberty and doing the, when their nutrition gets bad, like you can always see the mood swings, and whether it's high or low.
Yeah.
on the golf course, if you get to watch them play, it's like you need to eat more. Like get
Yeah.
just peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and beef jerky or something.
Like I said, Michael, between sophomore and junior year of college, we started realizing that he would lose about 10 to 12 to 15 pounds every summer he was home.
Wow.
Because he went to Wake, they're fed great in school.
Yeah.
And they have all the stuff with them. They have all of this, but during the summer, he'd be practicing out and he'd practice and he'd have to go into the restaurant, order some food, sit there. Now it's like an hour and 20 minutes later. He has to come back out, warm up. He maybe ate something that maybe isn't as good for him as he would wanted. Now he's and so we just got into the habit of him packing his own food. Now you see it on the golf course. He literally makes his own sandwiches before every round. They're in his golf bag. For him, he quarters his sandwiches, and every couple holes he eats a quarter of a sandwich to try to keep his energy levels throughout. Like wow. He's become everything he does is not by chance.
Right.
Which as a coach also makes him very easy to work with, because if you give him the information,
he's going to do it.
Yeah. But that was huge for us, because he would remember mass times acceleration. You lose 15 pounds, you may lose a couple miles an hour at club head speed.
Sure.
And now at that level, you hit it 5 yards shorter than you're trying to. That can be those targets are really small out there.
Oh yeah. All right, so let's talk about the senior golfer. Let's talk about the you thought on your other podcast that you called it something else, the experienced golfer.
The experienced golfer.
Yeah, the experienced golfer. Like what are you seeing? Because I mean, I'm dealing. I always ask a question, injuries. I usually just say, what's hurting you today? That's my common question. And they're like, well, this is, my back hurts or whatever. And there's always a knee surgery or shoulder surgery or hip surgery or whatever. Are you working with that demographic?
That's probably the majority of my demographic.
Okay. Well, talk about how we can help them and like what you're seeing with
I'm very close to that demographic now as well, Jason.
Oh, I'm a little bit ahead of you, but yeah.
Very close to that. But it's like I said, biggest things is obviously aches and pains. We work for a living, so almost everybody you see probably sits in a chair 8 to 10 hours a day. Really, that's not good for you at all. But right. Unfortunately, we also have to work. It would be nice if we all could play golf for a living.
Yeah, to pay for the country club to play golf.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, getting them moving is big. Just any movement. Like going out for walks, doing that kind of stuff. But that's why we try to do the dynamic warm up for the players. Just give me 3 to 5 minutes just to get your body checks and balances of see what's moving well today, what's not. Do I need to spend an extra minute on this one piece? But, I think one of the biggest requests we get with the experienced golfer is more distance. Why am I losing club head speed?
Sure.
How do I hit it a little farther? How do I do this other than buying the next $700 driver? And it really comes down to, like I said, when's the last time you force yourself to move fast? Because if you never move fast in life, how are you going to move fast when you swing a golf club? Because your brain and physiology just say, I'm good. But the second part is our neurological system in our brain, that it knows as we get older, falling is bad. And so your body will never let you move faster than it can safely keep you upright.
Survival, yeah. I get it.
It's a survival instinct.
Yeah.
And so we get people who we don't walk on curbs anymore and do balance. Like you see, like all the stuff that now as adults, you're like that annoying kid. You're like, actually, you should be doing that too.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like you go walk on that curb, go climb that fence. I had it the other day. My son and I were playing just throwing a football around, and we go out in the field, and he just hops over the fence, and I actually had to think about it for a second.
Yeah,
I think step over the fence. And I was like, man. Not too long ago, I would have just been sprinting off, chasing after him. But it's what we do. But so teaching you to move fast is an intent. So for the experienced golfer, it's about finding a place that if you do lose your balance, you're safe, because your brain's got to show you that it's okay to move fast, and you got to prove to your body it's okay to move fast. So that's, again, strength training is awesome, but I always want them to do some explosive things. You don't even have to jump. It could be a step up. It could be a stomp. It could be something like if you've had a bunch of knee issues, it could just be like a push on a leg press, but I'm going to take the weight down and I'm going to try to move it faster.
Okay.
anything to that effect.
What do you think about band work? I mean, I really have had a lot of success. I mean, almost tricking them into like warming up when like
Yeah,
during like beginning of the lesson after they've hit a few balls. It's because we're always, I mean, what I see, you can confirm or what you see as far as that demographic is one, they're afraid to rotate their pelvis in the backswing, or they're trying not to. It could be a model swing, swing problem. And they can more than they think they can because they're
yeah,
protecting their back or they're protecting a hip or whatever. And obviously, there's a lot of arm lift and then swinging across the ball stuff, and then they wonder why they don't hit it anywhere. But I use bands a lot just to like get them moving,
oh,
and then show them that one, this is the way the pivot should move or whatever, and then it kind of loosens them up, and they usually tend to get better. But I think what you're saying is they need to do more of that in the gym, right?
yeah. I mean, if you come into our gym, we have some power stations with racks. We have dumbbells up to 90 pounds a piece, but we have more bands than anything else. Like
Yeah, yeah.
our squat racks are almost anchors, are just anchors for our bands that we use with our clients every day. Um, I would say most of my clients, unless we're doing a specific strength day where we're trying to really work on strength, most other days, they probably are not lifting anything over like 25, 30 pounds. But on the other hand, we grab a medicine ball, a 4, 6, 8 pound medicine ball, and we're smashing it against walls and floors.
So just taking it rotation and then
Yeah, like shot
go.
puts and just trying to get them. And I love using medicine balls too from my side because I can do a lot of body motion, so I can work on pressure shifts with players. So
Yeah.
you see, pressure is a massive issue. If you can organize pressure right, I call it free speed. If your pressure moves well, you'll swing fast or swing faster. It's when your pressure doesn't move well, there's a whole bunch of physics that go into that, and it's hard to move quick. But I'll work on pressure shifts and get them to throw a ball because they throw a ball crooked, they don't care. So I can get them to move faster.
Yeah, I've been using. Do you know? I've worked at all like with Adam Schreiber. Or do you know his stuff? Like he's
Yep.
very much like does stuff in the gym to like change patterns.
Yeah,
And
very
I've been
much so.
copying a lot of his stuff for just throwing a medicine ball in a certain direction to like get people more draw path, fade path, whatever.
Mhm.
I think that's
Yeah,
kind of what you're talking about.
yeah, I love that. Like I love
Hmm.
how Adam does that because I think if we take the implement out, which gives us the negative result,
Right.
our brains also open up to make some changes. And that's why people are like, well, you have hitting bays and I see you doing golf stuff. I'm like, yeah, we hit golf balls after we do stuff because I just want to show them like this is the tie-in. It's not because we talk, like I said, Pat McGuire and Lisa are both, PGA instructors, and we always say that movement is everybody's lane.
Love that.
So movement is the trainer's lane, it's the golf pro's lane, it's everybody's
Yeah.
lane is movement. So like to have them throw a medicine ball to work on rotation, like we see how many people, because we're not flexible enough, we pull with the arms early. Our arms go, our body gets stuck behind. Well, if I give you a medicine ball and make you keep it against your chest and you have to still generate force to get there, you better use your body. And so you can start teaching them those patterns again, especially as the golfers become more experienced.
I need to do that. I need to do more of that. But yeah, I've been doing that a lot, even with my older clients. It's been really, really good. What pound medicine ball do you recommend?
I'm typically under 8.
Okay. So sort of lightish, the better is better than too heavy.
Later, faster.
Yeah.
Like in all honesty, as we get older too, we've got stronger. Strength is an issue, but I really see that the explosiveness loss is the bigger issue.
Yeah. The mobility, I guess, would be the
Mhm.
elasticity. Obviously, is gone.
Yeah,
I want
strength has its place in all of that,
right.
and lifting is important to that. But from our world, from a golf world, moving it faster is so much more important because the club maybe swing weight weighs 25, 30 pounds at the bottom. So I just got to have enough force to be able to offset my body weight plus that to get it moving fast. And it's easier on the body. And when we can work sequencing, we can de-stress joints. That's the other cool thing about 3D. When you look at it, if you look at each segment, so most measure hips, shoulders, arm, and then club. look at the percentage gain. So look what percentage they gain in speed for each one of those segments. And so pelvis to torso, I want 40 to 60% speed gain. So if your pelvis is 500, I would love for you to be like 750. I want another 30 to 50% at the arm. And then I want 80 to 120% at the club. If I get higher or lower than that, so say I have one that's way higher, that joint's getting overused.
Okay.
If I have one that's way lower, what's going on and we're not transferring energy through that joint's either inhibited or it's not getting used properly, and now it's stressing out something else.
Yeah, definitely going to be on the phone with you in the next couple of weeks, because it does, like, Motion to Coach does measure that, and I was wondering, like, how am I even? I mean, I understand the kinematic sequence, but, like, I want to know what I'm looking at as far as, like, where the deficiencies are. Is it out of order? And
because you'll see guys with bad backs, and you'll see all of a sudden they get a ton of power through there, but the sequence is bad and their arm's gone. I joke, and my clients will laugh. They hear this podcast. Is my buddy Newton, is in Sir Isaac Newton. 500 years, we still can't prove him wrong. Physics always wins, and in that case, it's energy is never created nor destroyed. It simply changes form. It's either potential or movement. So if I have a bunch of energy and my sequence is bad, and I've let the energy go out of here, and this energy that comes out of my legs late can't get out, my body reabsorbs it. My joints, my muscles have to take that. So at some point, they become pretty unhappy with us if we abuse it.
So one question about injuries, right? It's like, I've got a guy, and it could be any guy, but has a knee problem, right? A lead knee problem. He's a right-handed player, and and his swing flaw is, he spins, stays on his back foot, and jumps out of it. And I always say, so I always tell them, and I hope you can confirm or deny, it's like, clearly you can do it in a practice swing. We can get that lead pressure into that lead side. I ask him, does that hurt? He says, no. Like, why can't we do it when you actually hit a ball? And it's gotten better, but it's like not to the improvement that I want to see. How much of that is like his brain or the neurological part protecting his pain that he used to have, and like a new pattern he's developed?
In his case, if he doesn't have pain when he does get there, it's probably 90% neurological.
Yeah.
And so that the hardest part about rehab, when I was doing that all the time, when I was working as an athletic trainer in the universities, was the mental side. Like, we could know the muscle and the ligament and everything was good to go, but getting the athlete to trust it again, because pain is the fastest. I can change patterns faster with pain than anything else. My joke, and the parents love it, when we have the juniors all wired up, I was like, how hard of electric shock do you want me to use?
Yeah, because they have no idea what's about to happen.
Because I was like, if you did something wrong and you got a little zap, which is why biofeedback's actually really good. If you got a little zap that said you did that wrong, guess what? You're going to learn to not do that wrong really quickly.
How do you train somebody out of that, though? Like, that's the thing. It's like, I mean, I could tell them up till the cows come home that, like, you're okay. Obviously, I'm giving them step drills, and I'm giving them we're throwing medicine balls, and maybe it happens over time. And he's gotten better. It's just like, I don't understand why I can't trust getting over there and not jumping up on his toes and stepping back out of it.
My answer to that's probably more counterintuitive than what most people do, is I slow them down. So I do a lot of percentage drill works with people.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to find at what percentage does that break down. So at a 30% swing, at a 40% swing, at a 50%. So at some point it breaks down. And once we find that breakdown, then we'll train there.
Gotcha.
Because, luckily I surround myself with really, really smart people all the time, and I like to borrow their information and do that. But talking psychology, if you lived in the middle of a jungle and you were going to expand your building, you don't just go run out in the jungle 100 yards, start cutting down trees. You have to go, let me get this 5 feet, let me get this 5 feet, let me get this 5 feet. Because if you run out the 100 yards, because that's where you want to go, there's things out there that want to eat you. So the brain, if you think about it, our brains are hardwired that way, from the beginning.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of stuff in our histories that affect our choices today. And I think there's that pain piece. If you can get them to prove like, oh, at 50 and they hit enough balls, they're like, okay, that doesn't hurt. Well, I can go 60 now. And
Gotcha.
sooner or later you'll get there. And especially when we talk pressure and that type of thing, the interesting part is when we get the pressure organized at 70%, they start hitting it just as far as they were swinging 100%. And they're like, this is kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it all the time. Yeah, I go against a lot. Yes, a lot of people. The coaches are like, "You got to go fast. Got to go fast." And like, I get it, but then when the technique breaks down, I train slow. I mean, that's I've had more success. 40% swings is what I call it, and then ramp it up, kind of build speed around that better technique that we're working on. Plus, the player can feel it.
Yeah, one of my favorite structures is 5 balls. Where 3 out of 5, 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5, because nobody better. If you're training at 5 out of 5, good luck. You're going to be mad all the time because that's not golf. And so I'm like 3 out of 5, you get to go up 10%. If you miss 3 out of 5, you have to drop 5. And we play a game to see like how far, and that's part of the personality stuff. With a G, I can just give them percentages. With an O, I need to gamify it. So it's like, how fast can you go? Like, how few balls does it take for you to get to 70% today?
Yeah. Well, and then having the ability to measure that is always fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell them, like, give me your 40% swing, and the swing speed goes down 3 miles an hour. It's like, that's not really, or a length, but getting them that feedback loop is another problem that, has to be there. If not, they can't do it, depending on the level of the player.
And that's the biggest thing is when we talk overarching to all this technology, everything we talk about is still, I always tell people, be careful with data, right? Because I'm like, bad data causes more harm than it does good. I'd rather have no data than bad data. And this is what I do for a living. Like, I'm a data guy.
That you should put that on your billboard for the last question. No data is better than bad data. I love that.
It is, because if we have the data and it doesn't give us good information, it can put us down the wrong path. As the best coaches in the world can go down the wrong path, and it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why I started doing this. Is one of my big selling points to instructors is, listen, for as many swings as you look at every single day on the range, this is what you get to do. I look at data that much every day, all day. It's my job. It's what I do. And I was like, I will go out here and I can talk to you about the data of the physics that influence some golf, but there's a creativity part to it as well. That if I watched as many golf balls as you've seen hit, I might be a decent golf coach.
Yeah, but again, everybody's got their niche and their lane, and it's refreshing to hear how you sort of stay in your lane and support what we do, because I've had plenty other people in your field that don't, and it disrupts the process of learning and confuses the player.
And I'll tell you, and not all the guys do this, and it doesn't matter. But we've also been blessed as like our entire facility with our entire staff all played competitive golf. Like, we understand that part of the game as well as like, I still love to play. I wish I played more, but 3 teenagers playing sports doesn't put a whole lot of time for that.
Yeah.
But if I could play senior open qualifier, I'm going to try to play senior open qualifier. Right. And we tell people all the time, like 2 of our staff last year played U.S. Open sectionals.
Wow, you got some sticks in there.
I mean, right now I'm a 2, and I might be the highest handicap in our facility.
Dang.
So it's so I think part of that is understanding. Like, I grew up in the game, understand the game, understand that there's things that we can talk about. The 3D helps us. Like, there are times when you could say, do we cross the line once in a while? But I'm using the data of being like, hey, this is what I'm seeing.
Right.
And sometimes it's easier to show it at that point and get a feel. But I'm always sharing the data. Like Mike's team, like when we do a putting capture, his putting coach gets all the putting data.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested in that. That's
his
cool.
short game coach gets all the short game data.
Mm-hmm.
And we go through it, and I'm like, here's the data that I'm seeing. Here's what I see from the data. This is what. And also sometimes, as we know, cameras are great, but cameras are awful.
Yeah.
And I can see like, all right, if you're seeing this on camera, here's what's really happening, but this is what you're seeing.
Yeah.
So
Under the hood.
I'm like, you are seeing this. It's like I had a guy the other day who was like, I really see him thrusting. Well, we got him on and he almost had zero thrust, but what was happening is his pelvis was dropping through contact and his knees were bending more.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when his knees bent more, what we saw on camera is his knees go forward.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, he's thrusting.
So he's more lowering as opposed to thrusting.
Yeah. But if we went after thrust and he already doesn't thrust, we could maybe start chasing the wrong thing.
Yeah. That's
so it was
awesome, man.
It was one of those interesting things,
All right, couple more questions. You've been so gracious with your time. I feel like we could go on for about 6 hours, and probably we'll do a part 2.
Yeah.
If you don't, now that we start to get to know each other. But let's talk about daily habits, like for you, right? So I'm always curious about that, like because I actually was having a conversation with one of my students today, and we were talking about personal trainers. I'm like, I'm having a guy on tonight, and because this guy was in really good shape, and you're fit, and it's like, how important is it to like set the example for your players, right? I mean, I've always tried to do that. I always, we have our swings. I'm on probably a low moment at this moment, but that's another story. But like, what are some of the daily habits that set you up for success for your day, your week, your month, and has worked for you?
Sleep.
Okay.
So undervalued.
Right.
Good sleep, to be fresh. I wish I could do more in the gym more often, working with clients. We get tired, but just being active anyway is a daily habit. So like, it's really common. I have a fit, like my goal is 15,000 steps a day within what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Same.
I'm always tracking my sleep and all that and the strain.
Today's not quite there. I did a lot of paperwork today.
Yeah.
But so I understand that this is what most of our normal players are going through, is sitting at a desk. And now I'm like, man, if it wasn't for baseball practice earlier today, I would have almost no steps. Right. And it's just being active is the best thing. Right. Like,
so what do you do? Like, what are some of your, like, obviously can't do it every day, or like, what do you do first thing in the morning? Like what happens?
I will tell people sleep's important, but the older we get, my rule of thumb for a little bit of stretching is 1 day per week for every decade you've been on the earth.
God.
So right now I'm 47, so I'm in my 5th decade. So I try to do mobility, like just 5-10 minutes of stretching. Like,
that you got at work, you can do that in your spare time.
I get down on the floor.
Yeah.
I tell people part of my advantage is I get paid to train people. So I try to jump in there and do reps with them as often as I can. I joke as a trainer, you got to be the king of the 2-rep. I got to be able to do 2 reps of everything really well.
Yeah. You got to be able to demonstrate a little bit, right?
I have to. So, people are like, oh, you're good at that. I'm like, I better be. If I'm going to do this, I probably should know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But so I think that's an advantage. My daily life allows me to be there without a ton of other stuff. But for my normal players, my normal club guys around, I'm like, I try to get them a 10-minute daily stretching routine. And I tell them, if you watch an hour of television, you have 15 minutes of commercials in the hour, just stretch during the commercials for me. And I start with habits. Habits are really hard to change. Behaviors are hard to change.
Yeah.
So I build it slow. I'm like, if I can get you to do it for 4 weeks straight, it's now routine. And then I can add something. And then I can add something, and then I can add something. And then we kind of find that happy place. But the biggest thing is get up, move, especially the guys who work at desks all day. Set an alarm on your desk. My wife actually does this. Is she sets a move alarm for every 80 minutes that it goes off, and it's like, get up and move.
Yeah. Your Apple Watch does that too. Like, it always tells you you can stand.
Set those move alarms.
Yeah.
Get out, do stuff. I wish carrying and walking was more easily accessed on golf courses in the United States. Like, I love playing golf in Ireland and Europe, and where it's walk and carry everywhere.
Sure.
But just getting out there, moving, stretch, as we get older, try to do some fast things, like maybe go for a little, do a little, maybe try to jump up on the curb for a second,
Okay.
Do a little bunny hop every once in a while. Just
Um,
the things that make you uncomfortable sometimes, especially as we get older, will be helpful to an extent, right? Like, don't put
yeah.
yourself in harm's way, but do something that maybe is a little outside your comfort level. Move a little quicker, like, as you know, when Nick's home every once in a while, he probably says something, you want to go chase after him. It's like, I'm going to go extra 4 steps when I chase him today.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's just,
Yeah.
it's those little things, right? Like, everybody
I try to do 2 things. Again, like I got to get back in the gym. It's like, I was always a runner, so it's like, I've had some knee problems, but I always try to get sunlight within the first 5 minutes when I get out of bed. So I'll take the dog out, walk the dog, and then I get in a cold plunge. I've been doing that
cold plunge.
Yeah, I've been getting a cold plunge every day for about the last year. So I always tell myself, like, I can do something for 5 minutes, like, even though I can't get to the gym for an hour, at least I'm doing something that maybe gives me benefit. But I mean, my body feels really, really good
And
with the
that's
inflammation and stuff.
There's so many things that are out there that you can do. Cold plunge. If I grew up in Michigan where we don't see the sun a lot, and now they have like the little lights that actually mimic the sun that help you wake up and give you that energy. Like, we're blessed with all this technology, but cursed with this technology all at the same time.
Yeah,
But
the red light therapy stuff that everybody's doing, and like, there's just, you can do the heat, you can do the cold, it's like, it's a lot. But yeah, the cold plunge has really been, I think, helpful for me.
Yeah. And that's why my overarching one is just move.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just move more, do something to make yourself move around a little bit more. And I love the challenge because of the mental health part of the challenge too, of like doing something a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit tough every
100%.
day.
Yep.
That's probably my biggest habit, is I always try to do something I'm not comfortable with every day, just to like force myself to think.
There you go.
To be reactionary.
Yeah, that's so cool. All right, last question, and I'll let you go. This has been amazing.
Oh, we could talk for hours. This is fun.
I know. All right, I got a little message there. There we go. All right, so everybody knows what's coming if you've listened to the show, but if you could have a gigantic billboard and get a message to billions of people, get a message to the world. I kind of changed it to, like, if you can send out a group text to the world, what would you put on your billboard and why? It could be a quote, a favorite quote, or mantra. You've mentioned so many good nuggets. Like, what would you put on your billboard?
I love this question. There's so many nuggets.
And you can have multiple billboards. You can have like a golf work one, and you can have a life one if you want.
Well, my golf one is pretty easy because it's get assessed. Like, if you're not getting assessed, you're just guessing. We have the tech now; we don't have to do that. So getting assessed, and I don't think it's a high level. It's only a high level player thing. It's an all level player thing. But personally, one of the biggest ones that I have on the wall, it's actually on the wall in our facility, is if you want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find a reason not to. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, always find a way. Like, if you really want to do something, you will find a way. It's real easy to not do it. And that kind of goes into a second one, is how you do anything is how you do everything.
I love it. I love quotes, man. I'm a big quote guy.
Those are some of my favorites that have made it up on the wall. I have 3 of them on my wall, so I'm going to give you all 3.
Yeah, do it.
My third one is for especially our competitive players, and it's underneath the clock. Time does not wait for those who are unprepared.
Dude, dropping the serious knowledge.
Those are the 3 that hit my walls, because every once in a while kids will say something and I just point.
I love it.
You've heard me say it too much. Like, I'm just going to point to it.
I'll write some quotes on my whiteboard occasionally, and I'll just be like, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear, or so, something. Just make them like, okay, all right, yeah, I'll start listening.
Yeah, my
awesome.
kids get to know me because I find good motivational. I love motivational speakers and motivational work.
Yeah.
And I constantly send reels to my kids,
Love
from
it.
like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan and all the players, because it's easy to say you want to be good. It's hard to be good.
Yeah, definitely. Killing it, man. Killing it. This has been amazing, man. I so appreciate your time. I know we're gonna talk more um, out of recording, but tell people how they can come work with you and follow you. I know you don't do a ton on social. You need to do more, by the way,
Yeah.
because you got such good stuff. But how can they get in touch with you?
So our website is Peak Golf Institute. That's the company that we run. We have a Ashburn, Virginia location. We have a Rockville, Maryland location. Ashburn is great if you come from we're literally 8 minutes door to door from Dulles Airport. So in and out in a day, we can get people going. You can follow me. I work some Instagram. That's about my only social media that I do a lot of work on. It's Peak Golf Institute, Jason Meisch, on Instagram. The Peak Golf Institute Instagram is also a great follow. We try to put a bunch of stuff up through that. But I mean, we love working with anybody, any skill level, and I love questions. So nobody hesitate to shoot me some questions, and you can reach me. It's Jason at peakgolfinstitute.com, and shoot me some questions, shoot me some emails, players, coaches. I think one of our responsibilities as coaches is to spread information and not keep it to ourselves.
There
So
you
when
go.
we learn stuff, the only way to get better is to share. So I tell everybody that we're pretty much open book. We invite coaches to come in and hang out with us for days, anytime they want. Just let us know. We'll pair them up and they can come hang out with us for a day and just kind of see how we operate. So
my man, this is one of the smartest guys in the industry. Like take advantage of this opportunity, because a lot of people won't do that. But yeah, we appreciate you taking the time and sharing your knowledge. And there's more to come. Hopefully, we can collab on something.
Jason, this was absolutely so much fun. We'll do this again because, as we know, I think we could talk for hours. So
yeah, we have so many topics that you sent me, and so many that I've written down that we haven't gotten to. But for next time. So yes. I appreciate you, my man.
I appreciate your time, Jason. Thanks for organizing this and getting this set up. I really appreciate it.
You got it.
Have a good one.